I'll continue. So, the sexual fluids of human beings contain the highest quality of energy which is required for giving birth to a new life form. So, the preservation of this energy, the conservation of this energy, and usage of this energy for a right purpose is called brahmacharya. So many people, many spiritual practitioners understand this and they say celibacy is very important. Celibacy is stretched. Celibacy is stressed for monks, those who are taking full-time work as a spiritual practitioners. But this is a forced way of mastering the energy. So when there is a suppression of a natural instinct, which is sex, it leads to distortion in the human mind. And that's why you see a lot of malpractices, wrong practices in the religious and spiritual world who are taking up abstinence or celibacy without really understanding the dynamics of this whole process. The Patanjali Maharshi said, Brahmacharya leads to Virya. Means, if you rise in your consciousness, then naturally there's a conservation of energy. Which means, in other words, a person who is elevated, has an elevated consciousness, he has abstinence and celibacy, preservation or conservation of energy as a natural tendency. The vice versa may not be true. The other way may not be true. For example, if you water the plants will grow. But if you have a storehouse of water, it doesn't automatically mean the plant will have more plants. The water has to be used for plants. Similarly, a forced celibacy, forced abstinence doesn't naturally mean it's a spiritual elevation. You have to understand the human mind, the way human being behaves. The nature produces certain chemicals in the minds. They are hormones. This chemical reaction creates a sexual drive or urge in a human being. It's a nature way of compelling a human being for procreation. But when you do a forced abstinence, a forced celibacy, then you are trying to go against nature. It's like swimming against the currents of the water. A lot of struggle is there. This struggle gives rise to stress in the mind, and it can lead to wrong or malpractices with the people who are doing this. But a person who knows swimming, he can swim comfortably in any water. That's where a natural celibacy, natural abstinence from sex will happen when your consciousness mind starts moving towards the higher consciousness, your real self. The energy gets conserved. So this has to be understood as brahmacharya. One who practices brahmacharya gains tremendous amount of virya or the strength. Now what happened to this storehouse of energy which is in him? The storehouse of energy is used for some purpose. What is the purpose? The human being has a nervous system which is a product of evolution of millions of years. The nervous system has three parts. The reptilian nervous system, which is actually from our spinal cord down. It's a reptilian nervous system. It came as a gift. It came as a part of the development from the reptilians, snakes, lizards. Then our mid part of the brain comes from the animal life. Various animals have this part of the brain. Human nervous system is the upper part of the nervous system. The human nervous system is what gives us the ability to think, conceptualize, do the abstract thinking, to understand the truths, do the scientific and technology discovery. The lower part of the nervous system, reptilian nervous system, is what gives us the ability to fight. The fight and flight, the sexual drive, the drive for the food, which is common in the reptilian world and common to many animals, all the animals, including human beings. The animal mind, animal brain gives us the ability of relationship, whereas the human mind gives us the ability, higher ability of abstract thinking. The question is, has the evolution stopped here? The evolution has not stopped as per the science of yoga. A human being can evolve further into a greater being, and that evolution can happen when the current nervous system gets the energy which is required for the growth. Now, the nervous system what we have today is practically used for your day-to-day operations, for survival, procreation, food and recreation. So where is the surplus energy left for evolution? There should be some energy required for evolution, for taking off. Where is that energy coming from? Most of the time our energy is spent on survival, food, sex, recreation, all outward going activities. You need to give some time and attention for the nervous system to evolve. A good amount of energy has to be dedicated for nervous system to evolve. Where is that good amount of energy coming from? Where is that good energy coming from? That energy comes from your breathing practices called pranayama. That energy can come from your sexual fluids, which can elevate, which can open up the higher centers of the nervous system. The modern day science, the modern day neurology says there's a God spot in human being. There's a spot in human being which gets lit up in meditators when they experience the universal consciousness, when they experience the oneness, the state of samadhi. So this center in the nervous system has to open up. It doesn't open up normally in human beings because mostly we are involved in our survival activities. Spiritual practices requires rest, some amount of rest, silence, peace, and good amount of energy for opening up the higher parts of the nervous system, which is the next level of evolution in a human being. So this is actually what is called brahmacharya. If it is not understood properly, then lot of misconceptions, lot of wrong practices can creep into spiritual practices and religious practices. Having energy is one thing. Usage of energy rightfully, right way is another aspect. The science of yoga teaches you how to use the energy which you preserve and conserve for your evolution, for your samadhi practices, for elevated spiritual consciousness. That is the science of yoga. Without understanding the science of yoga properly, the practices properly, there's no understanding which can come to a human being in applying the subtle concepts of brahmacharya. So brahmacharya has to be understood as brahmacharya, the mind constantly going to higher consciousness. So if that's understood, brahmacharya can be understood.